Is there like all like alien living in there?
Yeah, I know.
Don't want any shin bone protrusions before.
Are you alright though?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
You know what 5 means?
I'm gonna take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, put that on the thing.
Yeah.
Show how much you sacrificed.
I don't think anyone else has hurt themselves quite so badly for this cause. Try and get it side on because it's massive.
You're right. No, don't prod it.
Oh.
Right.
Maybe you should talk about that for the start.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm already recording.
Right, we'll have to snip that bit out then, won't we?
Yeah.
So, I thought, Joe, what we do...
Are we doxing each other then? By first name?
Oh, okay, so okay, I was going to introduce this a little bit later, but let's do it now. So, yeah, variously during this will be known as Ned McCready, or Andrew, or Dad, in my case.
Father,
okay. And
Arachnophobos, formerly Dr. Pants 52. I'll come on to why that is. Or Simon, or Uncle Si.
Uncle Si.
And
oh, hello. I'm listening to them.
yes,
Yeah.
and
Nice to meet you listening to them.
we should also say that at one point you were Commander Red Dotman, and we will come on to the extent of your involvement in the game.
I signed the paperwork. I'm out.
What, an NDA? Or you signed the paper to leave Elite Dangerous?
That's right.
Right, okay. Well, we'll discuss that at length as the journey continues. Shall we set off?
Let's do it.
Right. So one of the things I wanted to discuss was the motivations for getting into the game. Now I started rather early. I started with Elite 1984. So I was 12 at the time. You were 1.
I was 1, so I think around about the time Elite was out, I was probably just plastered in my own vomit, which coincidentally is how I spent most of my time playing Elite Dangerous as well.
And Joe I wasn't even thinking about twinkles in eyes at the age of 12, so was not included at that time. Now we were living down in Leicester at the time. Superfluous information, with a lodger called Peter, also superfluous, but he was an early adopter, so he had an Acorn Atom, and he had a spare telly as well, which was legendary at the time.
Yeah.
And we used to set it up on the dining room table, and we'd play games, and games at that time were very new, very basic, and to give you an idea of one of the games, when you died, the game went off in a huff and said, if you're going to be rubbish like that, I'm not going to play anymore, and would deliberately crash your computer to the extent that you had to pull the plug.
Right.
That's not the kind of thing you want nowadays. Anyway, so that was an Acorn Atom, but he also had an Acorn Electron. Now, the Acorn Electron was like the little brother to the BBC Micro B, and all of the intelligent people, professorial types, had BBC Model Bs, and we didn't. We had the cheaper version, the Acorn Electron. However, on that machine, was a game called Elite, and it was wireframe. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means?
Yes or no?
No. So it's all the edges are shown, but there's no textures, so there's no faces to the ships. So we had the the best quality upscaling technology at the time, which was an imagination, and we used to employ that, and games were just absolutely brilliant and totally absorbing as a consequence, and things will never get better than this. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing what they could fit on that machine.
Well, quite a feat of programming as well, to just make sure that all of the line vectors weren't shown, otherwise it would look like a truly hollow spaceship. And
so the obscured lines, calculating the obscured lines and that kind of thing. And I think the source code's been released now. Should have a look at that at some point. But it's variously been described as the impossible game and the game that shouldn't exist and all of that kind of thing, for the amount that they managed to squeeze in there. What was I going to say?
oh, don't be starting that.
Thinking.
So backtracking Acorn Electron Elite.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't have all of the features of the BBC Model B version, which had colour. It was all black and white, but that didn't matter. You could fly around in a Cobra Mark III. You were Commander Jameson. You could dock at stations. I think, if I remember rightly, originally planets were just circles. I don't think you had rotating circles to give you any sort of depth perception on them. I seem to remember getting quite annoyed not knowing how close to planets you were. There were 8 galaxies of 256 stars each. So bear in mind that this squoze into something that is smaller probably than this logo that we're wearing today in terms of memory. It all squoze in there. One of the last things they managed to tuck in, if I remember rightly, was the scanner, because without that gets quite difficult. But you could fight, you could trade, you could be a pirate. If you were too naughty, the Viper police would spill out of the Coriolis space stations and come and attack you. You could mine. So absolutely amazing for its time. So that was Elite 1984. Now I got a ZX Spectrum soon afterwards, and obviously what I wanted was that again. One thing that was in the BBC version that wasn't in the Acorn Electron version were these ships called Thargoids. They didn't appear, so there was nothing pulling you into witch space. And we used to watch that at the school when that was being played and go, whoa. So got my ZX Spectrum, obviously got Elite, pretty sure that had colour. It was a sort of a step on again. It did have Thargoids. It did have other features in there. So there was a couple of missions in there. So a mission to take some data across several systems, for example. I think we should turn it, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Take some data across from one side of the galaxy to another. With Thargoids attacking you all the way. I think that was one of the missions, and you were still always stuck in your Cobra Mark III, but it didn't matter. There were all these other ships in there, so even on the very first Elite there was things like Kraits, Pythons, I think Anacondas, and we were always, because you got this glossy book with it, a manual, and you used to read through that and imagine that one day you'd find these things like space dredgers and generation ships, because hope springs eternal. So yeah, that was Elite. And then following that, something like 93, I think at the end of 93, came out Frontier. Now this was for the Amiga. Do you Remember that in the basement?
Oh yeah, remember the Amiga.
And it came on 2 floppy disks. Or so I thought. It actually came on 1 floppy disk, and I've been playing for ages, and then thought, what is that second floppy disk? When am I going to have to insert that? And I didn't have to. It was a blank disk for save games, which I'd just provided myself in the meantime. So don't fall too far behind, you won't be able to hear.
Hello.
Hello. Now this had, remember we saying the previous day it was wireframe, this actually had textures on it. So you can actually see a little bit of shading on the ships. You had a lot more ships. You could change ships. You'd only have one at a time, but you could change ships.
So when you say one at a time, you had to sell and could not recover that previous ship, right? Okay.
That's right. It had loads of no, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way to go. Loads of MIDI music on there. So right, let's just move in for a sec. The BBC Micro, when you were docking, played the Blue Danube, Acorn Electron, not so lucky. Frontier, it used to play all sorts. So it played the Blue Danube, but it also had a whole heap of other classical music pieces, a lot of Mussorgsky in there, and all of that kind of thing. Remember
Baba Yaga's hut.
Exactly, yeah. So I remember we were having a family party round at ours, and we had it on in the background, just playing that music. And David, who's a music aficionado, just part way through, and just wandered over and had a quick look on the screen to see what was going on, and it was moving through the playlist.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was very good. I mean, obviously the ability to change ships and move forward, get more and more beefy. And for the first time, you had characters at the station, still potato heads, legendary potato heads. But you just felt like you were carving a path, carving your own narrative through the. What did I say? Just remind me again, Joe.
The potato-headed.
It was actually a check to see if he was listening.
Oh right, okay.
Wait,
Anyway.
were we supposed to say our names?
Yeah, we did that at the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
You
right.
stopped listening. You stopped listening whilst I was saying my name.
Sorry. Hello, I'm Joe.
One of the.
Well, just remember his role in this is to antagonise us and be the.
Well, no, I didn't say that
opposition
at
to-
all. Shush. Anyway, so Joe is fitted and has benefited from a module where his mind is preserved from the words I say pretty much straight away. It responds very quickly.
It's called intelligence.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do you want some cream for that sick burn and the massive golf ball sized lump on your leg?
Yeah. So I'll put some photos in. Of, how did you get my flipping walking stick? Anyway.
Do you want me to say it again?
No. So yes, I'll put some photos in of the injury I sustained. So the start of our journey today didn't go quite as well as we hoped. Best laid plans and all of that. It turns out the Uber driver that took us to Jodrell Bank didn't actually have the permit for that system. So we got dropped off 2 kilometres away with a bit of a sketchy run/walk along a busy A road to get to even the starting point.
I call that 12 jumps in terms of
12, yes.
relative inconvenience of
And of course what we could have said is that 2 kilometres counts towards the total and that we can change our path, but to be honest the trouble I've had this week trying to map the walk onto the top of ED Discovery, I think there'd be more effort in doing that than just doing the walk. When I said this to the guys, there was a kind of not an altogether willing grunt of okay then we'll do that. So yes, we've stitched another 2 kilometres on even before we've started the official walk. I'll have to work that out and see what system we actually started in when we get back. first of many digressions. Okay, so Frontier. Things in there, and I'm pretty sure Panther Clipper was in there, and I think that was your ultimate ship. And you'd made it, then you could just absolutely, as a lot of people know and remember at the time, you just jump in there and just fly forward, and the pirates will just smash into you and get destroyed. You just pick them apart with your lasers without actually concentrating on it. So you'd made it at that particular point. You made it. They're bringing people have been crying out for the Panther in the latest game for a long time, and I'm sure we'll come to this at some point. But the Mark II has to be different. I think it has to be different because it's a massively multiplayer online game, so it's not a single player narrative, and you can't just instantly win any conflict that you want. There's other people's narratives to take consideration of. So necessarily, there's probably quite a few grumbles that the Panther Mark II is not as OP as the Panther Mark I was, but I think it probably struck quite a nice balance. And do you remember what I said to you about the cargo capacity? I guess.
No, I don't actually.
That's
were you bang on?
No, 1,200 I said.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
I don't think you could have foreseen the
38.
whatever they call it, the enhanced. You're up to date on the.
Yeah.
I did think there would be dedicated cargo rack slots, and I thought it would be this tantalising size 9 cargo rack that was only in much the same way as the Beluga and its luxury cabins and so on. But anyway, sorry. Yeah,
I quite like to understand why it wasn't a size 9 actually, but
well, I think the problem is that then there's the expectation that is going to make it into other ships in the game, and before you know it, if the cutter's not already obsolete in the Type 9, then the expectation that more ships would come along with configurable size 9 slots. Anyway, we're skipping ahead. You're monologuing about the period for now. The period of time I just don't remember with the earlier Elite games.
yes.
I'll chip in if I do remember anything.
Yeah. Okay. So Frontier textures, and then pretty soon afterwards, was it a year, 2 years later, there was First Encounter. Now,
not long enough later for development, you might say.
Yeah. And I believe there was shenanigans to do with that. However, there was kind of a mild reskinning to it. There were some new ships that were slightly more avant-garde, I would say. But obviously, I lapped it all up until I hit the bugs. Now, this is a time. Can you imagine a time before the internet?
What, the Tudors?
Yes. So about that time, yeah. So bought the game, and I think it was on CD-ROM. I think we'd actually moved to CD-ROM at that time.
And you moved to a desktop PC.
I'd moved to a desktop PC as well, because it only came out on PC.
Yeah.
And I hit a bug. So what do you do? At the time, what you do is you buy a magazine. See if other people are having that difficulty. Right, we've got a problem here, so you might have to interrupt the narrative.
Yeah. Just by way of background, we've been foiled at a few turns to stick to the exact plotted route, and if you hear oh my god it burns or anything, it's because locally they're not keeping on top of what appears to be quite a severe giant hogweed problem.
It seems to grow quite healthily around stiles and public footpaths. So let's take another picture there. And with Joe in it. There we go. Yeah. Good job. Right, so sketchy corner coming up. Apologies if that interrupts the dreary monologue. Right. So you buy magazines, and there's people saying this doesn't work, this is blah blah blah. So what you had to do was get an envelope, tuck inside another envelope with a stamp on it, with your name and address on it. That's called a self-addressed envelope, and you have to send it off to the company who made the game, and they would send you a patch on a floppy disk. And you'd install that, and then you managed to get going again. You managed to play the game again. But
was this patches all coming on a single floppy on the front of the magazine?
Yes, I think it was, because I distinctly remember having to send off for this. Yeah. Maybe I was just keen. Certainly was keen, but yeah. So I had to get the patch in and play that. Now, interestingly, you'll remember that some versions of the first Elite didn't have Thargoids, but the BBC B did have Thargoids, and that therefore became effectively going up a hill now, and being 53, that became canon. So the Thargoids being were canon. Completely retconned in Frontier, no such reference whatsoever. I think the game's moved on. I think something like the year 3200, the first one, maybe a bit before that. 3250. No, that's not right, is it? Can't be right, because we were 3300 for Elite Dangerous, yes, weren't we? Yeah. So I think it moved back in 50 chunks of 50. But in Frontier, there was no Thargoids. There was a lot of Imperial and Federation battles and shenanigans, and you could rank up with them.
And were they officially at war in that game? I can't remember, or were they just sort of...
I think it was
separate states who tried to stay out of each other's business.
I think there was enormous animosity, and I think battle, skirmishes would start. And you were certainly doing missions on behalf of one against the other.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like an all-out battle, and you can understand that really from a gaming machine limitations. Don't fall behind, you'll miss the juicy details. So, however, in first encounters, as you might expect, move in comically. The Thargoids were back, which added a whole new dimension to it. And, even though it felt like I think they had like I didn't get swept away. I was just waiting for that to finish. They had like a ray traced console, but otherwise it was pretty much the same. But it didn't matter because you had Thargoids in it, and you got to attack them. And I'm not sure I ever got to the end of it, but I think that was the game.
I'm not actually sure anyone ever has.
Oh right.
Well, okay. I mean, the thing is, I've tried to read up on the
in a tunnel.
Yeah. I've tried to read up on the lore a bit, and yeah, everyone talks about the hive ship and sort of train. Everyone talks about the hive ship, etc., which I don't know if you plan to talk about, but in principle, some people have finished that game, but I cannot find any YouTube videos to that effect, and you can usually find YouTube videos of someone long playing games as far back as certainly the 90s. So
the trouble is the technology of the time, as I was saying, this upscaling technology in terms of using your imagination for all of that, means that those games you could never go back to and play them.
Yeah.
But similarly, these sort of pristine images you hold of them and sort of recollections, they fade as well. And some of the times you sort of, I think you plug in little bits of your own hopes and desires in there as well. So flawed narrator, unfortunately. I think there's going to be a little bit of that today. So no, I don't think I got that far. But presumably, and this is sort of the tail end of the pre-Elite Dangerous bit, I guess. Presumably, you delivered the mycoid virus, did you? To
Yes, something along those lines. I think you had a choice within the game, but canonically there was I think he did in the end.
right.
Well,
Oh,
in
I
fact,
see.
that makes sense because Jameson's crash site voice logs, he does say something to that effect. So that was the ending, but obviously didn't spare him from the INRA tying off loose ends and whatnot.
INRA, yes. And you could find INRA bases and stuff, I think, in Frontier.
Right.
That was exciting. And there was the whole sort of Newtonian physics thing introduced in Frontier as well, which made it very, very difficult.
Yeah, how did that work? Because I can understand why, despite best efforts to make Elite Dangerous a realistic physics engine, they've said, look, suspend your disbelief now because we are having a cap on speed because this just will not work. Separation of supercruise and sublight.
Yeah.
Was that because of the timescales to get anywhere and the fact that with a multiplayer game you can't do things like speed up time, etc., or slow down time like you can in single player games?
Well, it was only ever single player, wasn't it? And I think there was an in-system acceleration thing in Elite.
Yeah.
In Frontier, I can't remember. I can't remember what the. I think there was again. I seem to remember saying, right, okay, series in the Sol system. I'm going to land on that because that is going to have pristine ball sorts in it, and I'm going to be rich. And I remember chasing it down, really, really struggling. I did manage to land on it, which is pretty amazing. I mean, in terms of a game from what, 93, you could land on Earth, you could land on Mars. There were, sort of a few buildings scattered around, just enough to make you think that you were in a town, kind of spaceport kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Mountains in the distance, so I think you even had like Olympus Mons on Mars.
Oh, cool.
And you land on the pad there and get greeted by the potato head when you log in. But yeah, you could land on all of those, and I managed to land on Ceres. I managed to catch it up and land on Ceres and start to surface mine it, water. So yeah, devastatingly realistic, unfortunately. And no one to tell. Who do you tell?
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what Ceres is? No, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Took a Polaroid of your screen.
Yes, I could have done, yeah. So don't know. But I can't remember whether that was. Did they dispense with that in First Encounters? I don't know. Can't remember. Obviously, you've had this dilemma extending into the latest generation, haven't you? With flight assist on off.
Yeah.
So you can play it either way. So, I waffled on for a bit there. I'm going to have a drink of water.
Okay.
Would you like to
Yeah,
take over
yeah,
and
I'll
do
do
some
that. So I'll certainly
talking
have
accent?
I'll certainly have less to say about the older games as you go further back in time. But I do remember Elite because I think it was an age of pre-Steam, pre-PSN subscription. People weren't chopping and changing games every couple of weeks, and you bought a game and that was your game for quite a long time. So I was what's the word, sentient while you were playing Elite, and I do remember the sort of mild terror of Thargoid encounters, and I remember thinking it was super cool when they deployed the Thargon, and it wasn't a swarm back then, was it? It was like one or up to three of them, I think. And I remember thinking how super cool it was when you could destroy the equivalent of the Interceptor, I suppose, and then pick up its drone and go and sell it. That was all you could do, but I do remember that sort of giddy excitement every time you picked up a drone. What was the galaxy map function like? I seem to remember it had a number of very much made up system. Well, it must have had, right, if you had 4 galaxies, and
they're all procedurally generated, so that all of the information wasn't stored explicitly for. It wasn't a record for each system. It was all expanded upon by virtue of probably 1 or 2 parameters.
But there were a few in there that were like pinned down. Obviously, Sol must have had some permanence, and Lave
no
was
Sol in the
certainly
first
in it.
one.
Was it not?
No.
Oh right.
Lave, Disso, Reed, Quat.
Yeah.
The ones that I remember, and I batted backwards and forwards trading furs for computer components for ages.
Yeah.
Because I was scared of combat. But yeah, no, there was no Sol. It was all fictional, and it was a universe inhabited with lots of. Every planet had some kind of creature. It was all sort of flavour text.
Yeah.
Obviously, but they just had a little bit of chat about all of this abundant life, the species that inhabited, the dominant species that inhabited each planet.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And is that where David Braben's sort of insistence that he'd like big game hunting came from? Because he seems to have been on that for a while, right? That it's a maybe not a confirmed feature of the game, but he definitely had his eye on. I don't know how that would look, but deploying your harpoon gun and going after a T-Rex or whatever. So.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about some of the other elite likes. That were the Methadone in the years before Elite Dangerous. But to a certain extent, I mean, he's a smart guy. What I wouldn't want is necessarily something elite-like where every world has a creature. I prefer something a little bit more Drake equation, where life's not that abundant, but when you find it, it really is something exciting.
Yeah. And maybe not as Build-A-Bear as No Man's Sky, for example.
Yeah. Because I think the first time you see that on No Man's Sky, it's very exciting. Don't fall behind, mate. You'll miss out. Do you need us to recap anything?
I've just
start again.
I've looked around for the first time in ages, and he's just got this look of complete incredulity on his face and refusal to.
I don't think his eyes are focused anymore.
Yeah. As long as you don't enjoy it, that's the main thing.
That's the ticket.
Yeah. But that's the extent of my memory about the first Elite. Just to clarify, so 11 years separates us. I wasn't just some weird 1-year-old that showed up at a 12-year-old's house to play computer games every now and then. You are my older brother.
Yes. I suppose that might have been gathered by the admission that you are Uncle Si to Joe.
True. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's the unless you're going through a bush, which we are about to. Frontier. I remember that one. I remember where it was situated on the Amiga while we were playing it. The only thing I remember about it is there were 1 or 2. Panther Clipper might have been one of them, but there were 1 or 2 proper high-end ships, and I think there was one that you were after for a long time that was, I think, Imperial. Kind of looked like a TIE Defender with its triangular arrangement of nacelles. And either had by default or you could fit a super powerful laser. And I remember you finding an exploit in the game where, as we mentioned, you can play fast forward, super fast forward game speed. And you found an exploit where you could pause the game and Was it a
With
click,
the laser
click,
still-
a click of the mouse still fired the laser? So the game was paused, and you were just zapping your target over and over again. So
Did
there
it
was
actually
no.
do any damage? Or did it
Yeah,
just look
yeah. There was no
right, okay.
no strafing runs, like multiple shots needed. You paused it, and if they were in your reticule, then well, they were just dead.
You know what?
However
That
long
makes
it
the
took.
Newtonian physics problem go away, right?
Yeah, yeah. But you know,
Wait, is there a pause in real life?
I've not tried.
Okay.
Give it a go. Yeah. I don't remember first encounters all that much, and not that you got all that secretive with your PC or anything, but I think when you got into PC use, PC gaming and so on, I just, maybe because of my age, I just detached from it and stuck with the Amiga and, you know, putty or whatever was on at the time. I do remember one absurd looking ship that had like a piston pumpy thing in the top of it that sort of looked like you had to mash it for it to go forward ever so slightly and then mash it again.
Yes.
Perhaps just as well that's not in Elite Dangerous in any guise. I think they've massively well, I don't think, to my mind, anyone is better out there at spaceship design than FDev right now. They're just absolutely beautiful ships with no shrubbery on them.
Yeah. Regardless of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Whatever they're pushing at the moment is beautiful.
Yeah, and you can tell because there are other games perpetually on the horizon that are blatantly pulling ship design inspiration from Elite and possibly putting it on sale for $1,000 a piece and so on.
Doesn't ring any bells.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but I guess long time passed by. 2014 came around. Now, I was living I was in the south of England. You were northwest, and I heard in catch-ups or whatever family events we were at together that you were aware that Elite 4 was on the horizon. You may have told me that there was a Kickstarter. Now, to my shame, at the time, I just did not take Kickstarter games seriously. I just thought that there was no tier below AAA, development budget available to release a full product at the end. So I didn't know what to expect, and I wondered maybe how buggy this thing would be on arrival, and anyone who backed it might have just said, oh well, I'll have a punt, and then when they get a half finished game at the end, then they'd just say, oh well, at least you had a go. So you've always kept some level of PC going, haven't you? I think.
Yeah.
I'd lived abroad for a while and basically gone without anything other than a word processing laptop for years. I just got into PS3, which obviously wasn't viable. So the announcement of Elite Dangerous just kind of passed me by, and all I knew is that I don't think you. Sorry to out you like this, but you didn't take part in the Kickstarter, did you?
I'll tell you why in a bit, but yeah.
But you were very much an early adopter, I think. So
earlier, but it was still a couple of years.
Yeah.
After that, I think. So,
well, what, 2016?
Yeah, I think it might be.
Oh right, okay. Yeah. Earlier than me, anyway. But anyway, doesn't make a huge amount of sense me carrying on about Elite Dangerous now, does it? Without you sort of, doesn't make sense for me to introduce that section with you having had the anticipation and build up and so on.
Okay. Yeah. No. Fair enough.
So my monologue's done. We'll hand over and I'll grab a drink.
So I knew someone who who was in on the Kickstarter, and they were telling me about it. And
You're right to hold that for a sec, 'cause I'm going to make a lot
yeah.
of noise.
Are we convinced this is on?
Good question, I'll check. Yeah, good. We've been going 40 minutes. Let me lock that screen.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to check directions at this point, because as I say, we're off our original course a little bit. So could you hold that? Sorry?
We've got Oreos. Do you want them?
No, not yet. No, I'll save them as a treat. Some kind of milestone, like knowing where we are, or
Yeah, okay.
but yeah, let me just check now. So yeah, there was a guy at work. He was in on the Kickstarter, and he was very keen on getting me. That's quite close, Joe. Just moving a bit. There's a car there. Yeah, he's keen for me to start, because then he'd have somebody to talk to about it. And I was actually not keen to start, because it was a very, very busy time for me at work, and I felt that if I did start, I wouldn't be able to stop. As ridiculous as that sounds, I felt that I'd be playing it for the next 10 years. So, right, just zooming out on the map here. Okay, so we are on Mill Lane now, which will do, I think.
Yeah.
You see there. So if we carry on straight up to Marthal, probably the same distance again, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
And then we're on the road to Chelford. Okay, so
Yep.
not quite as over stiles and cross fields as we hoped.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
The reason I suspected
I'd pour a lot of time and attention into it is that in the interim years, there were a lot of games that came out that were elite wannabes, but they kind of ticked the box. So
Do I hold this?
do you want me to?
Oh, no.
You're going to memorise everything you've said anyway, right, Joe? Joe has fallen aside. Joe has left the chat. Case in point was X, Beyond the Frontier, which I absolutely devoured. Loved that game. And yes, some people call it sort of it gets into the spreadsheet stage, but actually I didn't mind that. I loved the evolution of that gameplay. I understand that's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, I really, really loved that. And then X2 came out, and that was kind of it was similar to Elite's trajectory in that in X you were stuck in your ship. In X2 you could change ships, and boy could you change ships. You could occasionally you could catch if you just hit a ship enough when you're in battle, they would lose their morale throw and abandon ship and leave it to you, and it'd be wrecked. It'd be a proper sort of fixer-upper kind of thing, but quite often you could take it over. If it had this one software module still intact, you could take it over and you could send it back to a shipyard and you could remotely fix it. So suddenly you were fixing ships all over the galaxy and you were building up a fleet. You had your own carriers, you had your own destroyers, and you could populate those carriers and destroyers with those ships. So you could go around doing fixer-upper. How many hours, how many years I ploughed into that, I don't know, and loved it and played it so many times. And then I think they brought out an aggression patch where they just went, you know what, we're going to make the main bad, the Kark, I think they were called, we're going to make them a lot tougher. And I kind of quailed a little bit at that point and lost interest. And yes, aspirationally in my Steam account, X3 and X4 are there waiting for the day when like all the other games that are waiting for the day when I could choose to play it. Should I want to? Right. So that kind of filled the time. It was different, but it was close enough. But I then had some time for reflection afterwards and knew that if I got the real deal, if I got this elite, but everything dialed up a notch to the latest level of technology, I would be really struggling. Now, I'm from a time where PCs didn't come with sound cards in, and you'd have to fit a sound card. This sound card is now working. Tests you had to do before you even played the game. Willingly you'd do it. And then obviously I've been there throughout all of the graphics card stages. And we know where this goes. It goes down the path of hardware ownership and the amount of money that you need to plough into that. So when you bought your first ever Orchid Righteous 3D or whatever, and plugged it in, you thought, well, it's never going to get better than this, is it? You'll never need any more than this, and yet here we are.
Unreal magazine cover, that's the meme, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So that was the other aspect as well. I didn't feel like my PC would adequately run Elite Dangerous at the time. For a long time it's been scraping by on a 1050 in a laptop, but obviously each time there's a significant patch to Elite, the requirements sneak up a little bit, and you just feel this sort of ever so slight slowdown in everything that you're doing until suddenly you're not able to play it on that laptop anymore, and on you go. So that drives you towards desktop, where at least you can pretend to fool yourself that you can swap out the bits that are the weak link in your hardware chain. So I did. I resisted for a while, and then I clawed on right at the bottom end of tenability in terms of hardware. And I'll tell you how late it was. Horizons had come out. And hang on, Horizons had come out. No, it didn't do it in response to me saying that. Okay. So the first, I struggled to install Horizons on top of Elite, but then eventually got down to planetary surfaces and doing lots of fun engineering, old school engineering, where it was a gamble, and you just absolutely mash through your materials. Just sometimes you go, wow, I'm sure that's worse than I started off with when I came in.
All your stories about the era of engineering that I missed, the original one, and just like right now anyway, they were having a discussion about people's thoughts on engineering, and the number of people that just called it a intolerable grind. Maybe not on the show, but that was some of their responses. And it's like, you don't know you're born.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the whole your before the previous engineering buff, where you knew it was deterministic how much it would go up. Squeezing out those last few percentage, I was delighted with that, because it was so much better than it going back down again. Because I'm pretty sure there were sliders that just used to rattle backwards and forwards, and you just go and hold your breath and watch your materials go down the drain and leave with a module that was much worse. So yeah, that happened. Had you joined yet?
No. So I guess while all this was happening in the background, you were getting to grips with the game. I hadn't even. YouTube was a thing in 2016, but I wasn't quite as feverishly watching videos of everything I could be playing as perhaps I am now. So I'd never seen the game. All I'd heard from you was great things, and that you'd put about 800 hours in, and at the time I thought that's really bad.
That's too much.
Yeah, it was a bit of a oh, hang on, sorry, losing my train of thought, just figuring out grass verges ahead and stuff. Yeah, I'd sort of moved into the PS4 generation by then, and I was dooming and Uncharted, etc., which was fantastic. You talked about your history with X, and I think, you know, for the majority of my gaming life, I've just been a shut-in kind of megalomaniacal, controlling single player, max everything out. It's like just absolutely dominate the game if you know how to do it without any real sense of urgency.
Like mining gems in Dungeon Keeper.
Dungeon Keeper. There was a bit of a hook with that in Doom 2016, and I would love the game anyway, but the whole carry out these maneuvers while you're on a certain level, kill 5 Hell Knights by jumping on them and punching them in the head, etc. And these things are unlockable. Your weapons will be slightly better. It's that sort of thing just absolutely reels me in. But the idea that you could play a game for 800 hours was just completely alien to me. I was like, no, you play it for the time that it takes to finish the campaign, max everything out, get all your platinums or whatever, and then you either start it again and the counter starts again, or you leave it at whatever 56 hours or something. Anyway, I thought you needed a bit of an intervention, to be honest. So I'd sort of temporarily found myself a bit flush with cash one Christmas, and I'd wanted you and Joe to get into the PS4 for some time. I think you both wanted to as well, with, what was it, Spider-Man at the time. So in an attempt to get you off Elite, I feel like I should admit that was part of the driving force here. I got you a PS4 Pro with Spider-Man for Christmas, and of course I knew that might be on the cards, that you would pick up yourself for the family or for Joseph. So I called you ahead of time, just made you aware of it, and you said, well, thank you very much, it's very kind of you. By way of thanks, I'll get you Elite on the PS4, and I'll get a copy for myself and start it again. And I just thought, oh my god, that's how am I going to politely turn this down? So anyway, Christmas came round, and I was very happy to receive the gift and so on, and it must have just stayed on top of the sound bar or something, waiting to get played. And I think it was sometime between Christmas and New Year, you offered to get me started, and we had a WhatsApp call or something, and you were, without seeing what was going on my screen, basically, we hadn't thought to put it on Twitch or anything at the time, you were telling me roughly how to navigate around, and this was just like getting absolutely bombarded with just enough information that I needed to at the time. And I think you were talking about context menus and saying just set this to this, and you hadn't played on a controller before, so you were like, whatever the button it says that should do this, just make sure you remember where that one is. You sort of let me navigate around and just get the game playable. I think I tried some of the training missions and just failed miserably. And I still think that first one's really hard. What is it?
The combat one.
Yeah, Sidewinder on 2 Eagles, is it?
Yeah, it's not there anymore, is it? I mean, obviously they've changed all that. But,
oh, right, okay.
But yeah, no, I think it was impossible. Nobody left there sort of clapping their hands and saying, oh, absolutely, yeah, boss that. No.
But I remember, what one of your sort of like set elite up calls, you showed me, as a bit of a taster of what you could get in the game, all the shipyard, and I believe at the time, there's been a hell of a lot of updates since then. You used to get the orange sort of, well, it's not cell shaded, but you know what I mean, like the loading screen, basically, the orange edged rotating ship.
Yeah.
And you were sort of talking me through them, what they all did, and then I remember you got to the Federal Corvette and you basically said you can't just go and buy this ship immediately. This is like a high end, a select few players have this one, and you've kind of made it if you've got that ship. And I remember you left the call and I was just staring at this rotating Corvette on the screen for a while, and I think that's probably the moment where I just thought, yeah, I've got to do it. Whatever it takes, I need to have that ship.
Okay, so at this point, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah. We've skipped past something here.
Have we?
Yeah. Realising now, in terms of the chronology, that Commander Red Dotman started in the game.
Oh, really?
Yes. So very keen. He'd watched the Gnosis event. He'd sat there, and we knew what was going to happen. We knew it was going to jump, and oh no, it was supposed to be a simple exploration thing. And I brought along my Anaconda, which was probably my best ship at the time, to deal with that. And Joe sat there and watched me, and on that, I think it was the Friday night, after it all went wrong, we set off in the Anaconda. There was a couple of other players who jumped into ship launch fighters. One of them was really role playing it as well, sort of I'll go and do it, captain kind of thing, and we were just talking about it, and Joe was sort of really enthusiastic about it, and didn't realise it was on voice comms until one of the guys said, I think it's really cool that you and your son are into Elite, and I said, can you hear me? But I said it out loud. It still really hadn't sunk all the way in. So I have to do a little bit of a work out where we are.
I should know. I do know. I know where we are. This is where I come and I do the nursery run along here sometimes.
Oh,
right.
So we want to head to Martha.
Okay. If we can get up that lane, that will take us to the main sort of A road between Knutsford and Macclesfield.
It's quite quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going that way.
So we'll wait for this car to judge, and then we'll run.
Okay, yeah, let's get it.
The lump on my leg feels like another knee now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. Commander Red Dotman was born at no small expense. I bought him an account on the PC, set him up on Steam, and I think, I remember him sort of learning how to land on the pads and do his own hyperspace jumps and all of that about 4 times, and then he lost interest. That's fine. It's not to everyone's taste, is it? So he did no more after that. I did do quite a long bit of chat on Reddit about my experience of the Gnosis jump, because there was a lot of isn't there always a lot of salt, but my experience, even though I got ganked, and insta ganked as well.
Ganked by a player?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Right. Okay.
I think it was on the Saturday night. I set off. I'm not even sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure it was like one hit and I was gone. And it was a bit of a paper conda, because I didn't really understand my way around all of that kind of thing.
Bit of a hacker by the sounds of it.
Well, yes, I do wonder now. Anyway. So, the legend of Commander Red Dotman. No interest again for a while, and then Distant Worlds 2. And there was a resurgence in interest on the weekend where we were due to set off on the Sunday night, and Saturday afternoon he said, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." And I said, "Well, yeah, I think he had something. I think we got him as far as a crate Mark II." And I said, "Really, your ship needs some engineering, and you need to get the FSD booster and all of that kind of thing before you go. I want it. Okay, right." I said, "Well, I'll do that, but then you've got to do the jumping when it's actually time." Yeah, I'll do that. So he's patting me on the shoulder with a rueful expression on his face. Anyway, so I spent all weekend getting his ship ready, finishing off my ship, but mainly getting his ship ready. And then Sunday night came along, we sat there, and did you do the first jump?
I did do the first jump, yeah. It was very laggy though.
Well, that's because there were so many players all at the same time. Yes, it was very laggy, and in fact, the first jump, didn't everyone crash out the game?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
And that was the only jump I did.
Yes. So
literally the only.
Yeah, it was the only one.
So Distant Worlds 2 was this jaunt up to near Sage with missions along the way to build the station. I forget the name of it. Something Anchorage, isn't it?
Explorers Anchorage.
Yes. He was supposed to sort of stay in step with the rest of the community, but obviously people had different time slot availability. So he didn't jump, but he still expressed an interest in having done it. So that it's a little bit of a puzzle to solve, somebody not doing it but wanting to have done it. So my approach to that was to have my 2 laptops with my 2 HOTAS out, and I'd jump one, and whilst that was in the tunnel jumping, I'd navigate to the other one and I'd jump that. It was insane, absolutely insane. And I got as far as Colonia. No, I think probably about 100 jumps from Colonia, something awful like that, and decided that I just could not do that anymore. Too much damage to me and to the ships. So I went ahead, I got there, and then took his ship to Colonia, got there, and I took you all the way to Sage, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I took you.
What's that?
The black hole at the centre of the galaxy. I think I took your ship all the way there.
I don't know, all I remember is you coming up to me and saying, right, you only get this award of having taken part in it if you do 20 jumps. If you do 20 jumps, I think you've earned it. I did not do a single jump.
Right. Yeah.
You gave up then, didn't you?
Well, I'm pretty sure I got both ships there, and I got there early enough to actually see, and I thought this was really decent of them. It didn't just pop into existence. It started off semi-built, pretty much like your stations are nowadays when you're doing your what's it called?
Colonisation.
Thank you. So I got there before it was fully finished externally, including some of the internal features as well. So I don't think I could do repairs. Is that right? I think I remember not being able to do repairs initially.
What, missing station service or?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure my approach to that was, I think the outfitting was available. And did I get repair limpet or something like that. Anyway, and I got him to the centre of the gravity, and then suicide winded him back to the bubble. So there was no way I was going to fly him all the way back as well. So yeah, Distant Worlds 2 was an unbelievable time sink for me. So there is actually a steam commander, isn't there? There's a Commander Red Dotman out there. There's actually got some basic engineering unlocks, got some ship stuff. Yeah, and that happened before you joined. Now, obviously, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. When Joe got a PS4, I wasn't going to buy Elite for him as well. However,
well, how do you play Elite on two accounts on one PS4?
Yeah, well, you buy another PS4. You buy another copy of the game. You trying to trip me up? No. Buy another copy of the game because he expressed his interest in fighting Thargoids. And we took him out, didn't we? We took him out
we
on
did.
Elite,
yeah,
an elite evening of Thargoid hunting.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember that one. I think we'd sort of because what was this? So I started playing well, very much at the end of 2017, start of 2018, and I think it was probably in the following year. So we should probably preface this with a bit of, you know, how old were you at the time? Because you're not at that age yet where decades go by and nothing changes apart from you develop more aches and pains and so on. So you were quite a different age back then, weren't you? We were talking like 9 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very conscious that you wouldn't want to go into this experience and get blown up and disheartened and so on. So we'd sussed it out. We had a plan, didn't we? That because we're maybe skipping ahead a bit here. I don't know if either of us are competent AX pilots right now, but we'd kind of developed the all shard cannon Corvette build, hadn't we? The brute force, like
pretty much
drop in and start blasting it, and so we had a plan for you to get some hits in with your crate, and then we'd finish it off, and you'd be credited with the kill. Because the Pilots Federation doesn't mind paying 3 people 100% of the reward for fulfilling the objective. Yeah. But what I hadn't counted on was caustic damage. So I remember this was proper, heart pounding moment, because I was very much invested in you not dying doing this. You were getting causticked to death. You didn't have
caustic up in the cloud, didn't you?
Yeah, something like that. Caustic sinks weren't even a thing back then. All you could do was the overheat stuff or decontamination limpet, neither of which I think you were in a position to do. And I remember you were onto single digit and dropping rapidly whole hit points, and I just about managed to get a decon limpet onto you, and that was one of those real sort of exhilarating moments.
It was heart pounding for me because I was running from the lounge into his room
to try and advise on
to try and calm him down.
Yeah.
What was calm?
No, your room was soundproof, but I could hear you screaming.
Didn't we defeat it though?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the last time
Yeah.
I ever went on.
There's a theme, isn't there? I should point out, when you mentioned that we got his crate, he went into battle with his crate. It wasn't the same crate. No, I'd had to grind that crate out, hadn't I?
Was it the Mark II or the Phantom?
Probably Mark II to give you the best chance.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously started again on PS4, hadn't I, for you, and built you up to the point of getting a crate and some basic AX weapons again for you, hadn't I, for you? So yeah, it's not the same crate. It's not the same crate that I piloted to Sag A. for you.
Yeah, but do any of us still have the same crate that we bought
Yes.
in the first place?
Yeah, I do. I've got like on my carrier, I've got the ships that have done the most. So I've got Hurt Peelings, my Aspect Explorer, which did all the Guardian stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, back in my day, when you landed on a Guardian planet, there was no night vision. You drove around in the dark.
I can't decide if that's worse than the original engineering mechanics or not.
It was scary
Yeah.
because you know when the monoliths, the obelisks come up out.
Yeah.
When that rumbling starts, wow,
Mm.
you don't know what that is, and yeah, the ominous sort of boom, 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 boom music as well. Oh yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be any less scary first time with night vision, but being in pitch black. Yeah. Anyway, crates. Joe, Commander Red Dotman's
I've got 10.
10 crates. Yeah, you got them. I did them. Anyway, moving on. What should we move on to?
I don't know. Well, we're not going to catch up to like what's going on this week in Elite. I don't think, but maybe. Well, yeah. What's your kind of broad strokes evolution of how to play the game? I say this because I know we've each got a few embarrassing stories, but what mistakes did you make either as a rookie or because there is just nothing in the way of instructions out there beyond the original tutorials? What mistakes do you hang your head in shame and wouldn't, for example, want to disclose at PitCon or anything like that?
Yeah, well, too many to remember, fortunately, not due to therapy, just due to the abrasion of the years. Things like not having a bind for supercruise. So taking off from a planet, and if you get that little dashed line around your target system, I flew until that dashed line wasn't a dashed line anymore in standard standard speed. Obviously it didn't happen all the time, but when it did, you could really sink some hours into that. So that was one thing.
So you were timing when you played the game for the orbital period of the stations around the planets, and when the target system would be kind of like launching a NASA mission or something along those lines.
Yeah. Heavy use of the boost button. So I mean, you SCO boys, nothing. I did it all in what do you call it? Standard flight. Standard flight.
Yeah.
So that was particularly time consuming. The first Guardian site I did, I was stuck in this kind of quasi not wanting to depend too much on the guides, on Canon's research guides and stuff for Guardian sites. So just enough, but kind of make my own mistakes, and boy did I make them. So things like refuel for the SRV, didn't have any materials for that, and ended up discovering that with Hurt Peelings, my Aspect Explorer, I could scrape along the floor with the cargo scoop open, suffering enormous damage to the ship, and occasionally collect some of the orbs and.
I had no idea you could do that.
Yes, you can. It's not recommended.
Yeah.
Another one sent me off, and I was absolutely convinced that in that sort of same delirious, I reckon I'd be the first to discover a space stretcher or a generation ship kind of thing back in the original Elite. That same Spring's eternal hope I had for finding the cave some distance away from the Guardian site, where
The cave.
a cave where you'd be able to drive in and you'd be able to get into what was obviously the body of some big guardian mothership, and I'd be the one. So yeah, spent a long time trying to get out of that divot in the landscape, back out again. Plenty. Can you think of any that I've made? Shame me.
No. I honestly, I stand by this. You were the sort of pioneer out of the two of us trying to get to grips with a game that's just notorious for not hand-holdiness.
I'm still learning stuff today.
Yeah.
Still learning stuff today.
I mean, I've got a couple that one of which is arguably more embarrassing because it speaks to more just lack of general gaming literacy, and one that kind of is quite a cool feature of the game, but it's something that I sort of way too much time into. So the first one is I did not know how MMOs worked. It is the first MMO that I have ever played, and I think it was my rite of passage first engineering trip out, because I got my message through from Felicity Farseer. You weren't around to hold my hand for this particular bit of the game, so I did the journey myself in, I could be getting this wrong, but I feel like I was in a hopelessly unengineered Asp Explorer. Actually, let's follow it along here.
Problems here.
Sorry?
I think we're going to have problems here.
Why is that?
This is much faster, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think if we follow this along, we can put straight across onto that pavement. This is relatively flat, so do you want to let's try this? I mean, I think it's going to be safe enough, just no good for dialogue. So yeah, Asp Explorer, no engineering to it. Obviously not, because I was on my first visit to an engineer. So I did all the jumps out to Tvastyas. Took probably my first screenshot in the game, and that was one of those, just sit back and think, wow, this is absolutely beautiful exterior of the ship. That massive tower that Felicity's got at her base. And I didn't understand what happened when you logged out of the game, so I set off back for the bubble. I'm going to speak into it like this now. Set off back to the bubble way past my bedtime, certainly for a school night, on the understanding that I couldn't log out from the game because somebody might come and blow up my motionless ship, and I think I stayed up till 2 in the morning, normal work responsibilities beforehand. Just mind that, because I simply didn't realise that your ship disappears from the game when you log out. The other one was on a Saturday of just batting around the bubble. You know how the galaxy map doesn't show everything all at once. It can't do. Everything's in layers and so on. I got to this point where I just zoomed and rotated, and I caught this really closely spaced, perfect straight line of stars, and immediately thought, oh my god, that must be pointing at something. So I remember trying to navigate to the start of it, look along the line, and I don't think there's a good way of doing this in the game. You can't get an orientation from the galaxy map, or rather you can't decide where you want to go, what direction, north, south, east, west from the galaxy map, and intuitively line your ship up. But I was, basically trying to do all the trig and stuff, and look along this line to see what it looked like. And from your ship, it was basically, you could tell it was a bit denser going along. And I followed this star by star. Before I realised that it basically led to nothing. well, it does actually lead to one place, and that place is Sol, for reasons that I'll go into. But the game is a composite of known astronomical data, some procedural generation, and obviously a lot of known astronomical data comes from, say, pointing a telescope in a certain direction and getting high resolution images of space, and then naming the stars and registering them and so on. And that's exactly what was going on. This line was only, you know, some telescope's view from Earth. So I hope there's an astronomer out there who'd be happy to know that they wasted a Saturday of mine by figuring out what some of space looks like. But you know, that's not the end of it. I do, to this day, do not know how crime and punishment works, and I think I committed a crime in my Anaconda at one point, and didn't want to blow it up and get the rebuy. For some reason I didn't acknowledge that there was a hand yourself in function. But do you still pay for rebuy if you hand yourself in?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, right, so that's embarrassing in its own right. And I remember desperately trying to, I wanted to get into a Sidewinder to be blown up in, but I didn't understand the concept of hot ships and hot modules, and I was like, why won't you be clean? Yeah. But
yeah, well, there's one recently. So this is probably my most recent one in terms of still not understanding the game. So I play a lot in Mobius now, and if you know, and that's why. There was a CG going on, and there was quite a few sort of hollow rectangles on the scanner, and that was great. Got stuck in there, and I've always had this problem. There's been this bug in the game where occasionally you kill a ship and you get no payout for it. You think, well, what's that about? It's like, oh, come on, Frontier, mop that up. But you're having fun. You're having fun killing baddies, so it kind of doesn't matter. And sometimes you get paid, sometimes you don't. And I noticed that there were no baddies around anymore. There was just hollow rectangles, and my shields were going down, and my hull was being damaged. So those rectangles had turned red. So I said, message the guy, say, can you stop shooting me, you know, with the Mobius rules and all of that. And there was a long pause, and then he came back to me with, kill stealing is against Mobius rules as well. And I was like, for what point? I'd never heard the term kill stealing before, and that's obviously my fault, because I don't, you know, I'm not on Discords, and you know, don't particularly discuss things, and I'm not in a squadron, and all of this kind of thing. Probably doesn't excuse me, but I've never heard of the term before, and I've, you know, obviously I'm now aware of it, and that now makes me think two things. First of all, it was never a Frontier bug in the first place. I was just having kills stolen from me. But second of all, why? Just, you know, it's not salt, but wouldn't it be better if anyone who got some hits in on a baddie to get some of the bounty without any of the acrimony from people on the same side? I'm not trying to excuse my kill stealing, which I didn't know about, but money's for free, right?
Yeah, well, I might have said to you before, I think a proportional payout allocation, well, yeah, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be anywhere near the multi-tens of billionaire that I am today, because a lot of that came about as a result of 50 million per Hydra kills, in inverted commas, where, you know, I wasn't kill stealing, I was doing my damnedest. But I think it would be quite interesting to know what your rough damage proportion was. You know, if I feel like I've done a good job against a Hydra and lo and behold I've got 5 million, I know I need to up my game, and I'm not actually getting that many hits on hearts and that sort of thing. I don't know how that would work, but it's one way that you could potentially make the game fairer. Don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. And also when you feel like you've absolutely bossed a situation where you've taken one of the petals off a Thargoid, it would be really useful to know whether that really was by dint of your effort, or you just got lucky, or you're shooting in the right direction at the right time when somebody else did the proper job.
So what's been your favourite massive update to the game? I guess I'm thinking in terms of post Horizon, because I was on board after that. You can say Horizons, and yeah, I think.
I mean, what I will say is that the engineering grind hasn't really felt like a grind to me, and it's not that I mix it in with, some people's solution to this is mix it in with other types of gameplay. It's not that. It's just that sometimes it helps me unwind to do something a little bit repetitive and go off and get the mats, and then you get to go and visit these engineers and up your specs a little bit, and you say, well, okay, fair enough, I've run out of mats now. I'll either go and trade, or if I can't be bothered, I'll do it again a bit later. Just I move between different forms of gameplay enough so that it's never felt bad. So that's towards that in terms of Horizon. I absolutely loved the Thargoid War and everything that we went through there.
So I should say at this point that the Thargoid War was basically what hooked me back in, because well, you probably know where this is going, but having been an avid PS4 player who clocked about 3,000 hours, I bought a PS5 at great personal cost, because they weren't too available at that point, and I did end up driving about 150 miles to go and get it from the Argos that I just instinctively hit the purchase button on. But that was all for the release of Odyssey. So you can probably imagine I was rather disappointed to find out that it wouldn't be coming to us. So I should say that I think when that announcement was made, I was a new parent by then, so I had other fish to fry, and couldn't justify getting a gaming PC, at least not right off the bat. And I had a very long hiatus from Elite. I don't know if you did, or if you just moved over to PC for that time, but I remember that there was a point where your PS4 Commander was by far your most advanced account, wasn't it? Yeah.
So my PC Commander was, I think, double Elite when we started gaming on PS4. I too bought a PS5 purely for Elite in anticipation of Odyssey, and in essence I've played probably about an hour of other games on there, and whenever you see it online, you know full well it's my wife watching football, and that's what that machine does now. But my PS4 Commander had Fleet Carrier when my PC Commander didn't.
then yeah, we did the transfer. So you had to get rid of your fleet carrier. So I moved everything off it. And I think it took a little while, didn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the state that I abandoned my, well, didn't abandon, I did the transfer. The state of my carrier at that point, I've got so many regrets, because I think I'd been using it towards the very end of the what was the Void Opals LTD Gold Rush. So I think I had about 6,000 tons of LTDs on it, and I just could not find the time to go and sell them. Kept the carrier balance excessive, just so that if I was called upon to not touch the game for 6 months, I would have enough to keep it going until then. But all the remaining space was full of tritium, and tritium is that thing that's like, you know, gold dust, figuratively, but you never go out of your way to sell it all. Now, I think is there some sense of urgency or open window, closed window with account transfers? So I was busy. I actioned the transfer, and I think I was given. Do FDev give you a nominal date and time where it happens, or is it instant as soon as you fire that email off? But anyway, I left the carrier with about 2 billion on there, packed to the gills with tritium and LTDs, just for the sake of, right, we've got to move this account right now. Certainly didn't strip it bare, didn't decommission the carrier, get any money back. Dr. Pants 52 was no more, and I became arachnophobos, considerably worse off, and trying to join the Thargoid War at a period of very busy. I think you'd just been able to punch through the centre of the maelstroms, but not a lot to do from there. So, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, Thargoid War was brilliant. Obviously, I was not exactly disconsolate, but bothered when that ended that I wouldn't find my hook again. But I really love colonisation. I'm very, very keen on that. Got a nice interesting system, which I want to develop and have been developing. Got a couple of other systems pinned, pegged in terms of just having one station in. I did a 2 noob hammer Coriolis effectively by myself. Right, I've got a giant hogweed here now, so I have to be careful.
Yeah, okay.
So watch this, John. Albeit split across me and 2 of my alt commanders. But yeah, really enjoyed that. To the extent that, in full knowledge that the Panther Clipper Mark II was coming, I went and did another base. I did a tourist base. My systems are 0% happy. Every Thursday I log on, play for a while, and then I go, I'll just check to see whether the things I did in those systems have made a flicker, and they haven't. So I thought, you know what, I'll give these guys a tourist centre. I mean, if people are coming in from other systems for a little bit of tourism, you know, Space Blackpool, then maybe they'll feel a little bit better about it. So set that up.
and thought, right, I'll go and do some missions. So I did some killing of naughty men in the house res as well, because I thought that'll cheer people up. And I landed at the outpost, had a look at the missions, and one of them was kill the pirates, and it was at the tourist base that I'd just created.
Man.
They'd moved in straight away, and I thought, in terms of the narrative, that's actually quite sweet. I like that. You just finished it and you leave, and then you go, I'll have to do this myself, and you go back and you kill off all the baddies.
Yeah, it's proper Liam Neeson film plots, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it just felt really nice, and you know, landed there, did the job. I'd done a bit of mining there as well that week. Bit of trade. Had done a bit of trade there as well, and felt quite optimistic that on the Thursday tick I'd get in there, start playing, and then go, oh yeah, and remember to check and see 1%. Or something, but no, 0%. They don't like that. They don't like, none of those things help them. So again, I'm in this quasi state of wanting to know how to do things, but reluctant to, in a sort of role-play kind of way, reluctant to go off and read how to do this from a cheat sheet. Which leaves me at odds with myself, to be honest. So I do want to make my people in my system happy. I would have loved to have stumbled on a recipe for doing that myself. So far, not successfully, but I've had fun being unsuccessful.
Well, yeah. You just you're developing your knowledge organically. It's not a race.
Yeah. That's very kind. So yeah, very much looking forward to the Panther Clipper. In terms of the ships that I've been using to do the job, before that it was Type 8 for local shops.
God, I love that ship.
Yeah, no.
But I am going to have to ruin it forever. Going to have to ruin it for you forever. The two, what do you call them? The two prongs that stick out above and to the sides of the cockpit, ever so slightly off centre. So there's a more pixel gap on one side of the cockpit than there is on the other. That's why I got a VR headset, so I could sit there and readjust my neck and compensate for it.
Why do you have to do me like that?
Yeah, sorry. It's
I'm not going to
put
be
a
able to see
ticket
anything else
in.
now. I'm going to be crashing into stars.
Yeah, I'll put a ticket in, but no, I just love the ship. I don't know if maybe my engineering competence and ship dexterity just isn't that good, but a decently engineered Type 8 has just got all the manoeuvrability I could want. You know, some people call it slow, cumbersome. At the moment, my cargo carrying options are cutter or Type 8, and if a Type 8 had 100-ton cargo capacity, I'd probably rather use that than have to do 6 trips than the cutter, because
Yeah.
oh god, it's
It's a bit slippy, isn't it?
yeah, the cutter's just a white elephant. You get it because you've got the status that allows you to get it and the money to outfit it so you can leave the landing pad. But beyond a certain point, it's just massive. Well, it was outclassed by the Corvette.
Yes.
Having got the 2. And yeah, just absolutely joyless to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I do love the new ships. And I know people are saying it's kind of game breaking in that, you know, every ship is meant to have a role, and you know, somebody flying a Federal drop ship will always have an advantage in some dimension over any other player in that. I don't care, times move on, and I totally agree. I don't, you know, what I want is to have some continued enthusiasm, excitement for the game. I'm so enthusiastic about it, but to have new things is very nice. That they, to new players, are a lot less of a struggle to get further on in the game. Really doesn't matter to me. If we get more people, we've had that experience. All negative experiences, they are experienced.
Yeah.
There were challenges that we faced back in our day, kind of thing. So that doesn't bother me. The Mandalay, oh gosh,
Yeah.
lovely. And you know, we were at PitCon this year, and when FDev was saying that, you know, they play with the sliders in terms of the parameters to try and balance it up, and on the Mandalay they just left them all up at the top. Thank you, because you know what, it's great. It's, you know, I can't make it be the everything ship. That would mean that I never get out of that ship again. I love it for exploration. Those long jumps are wonderful. And canyon racing just out in the middle of nowhere. Ooh, that was lovely. That was thrilling until I hit the side of the canyon. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to watch that. My shields are, oh no, I've just done it again. Right, now I really have to, because I'm in the middle of 41% hull. And then that was the end of the canyon run.
It's right.
Yeah.
What are these roses?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the ships in the game, you know exactly what you are doing with them, and that they only, well, excel or even perform in one of the areas of the game. You know, unless you're Ty from Loose Screws, nobody explores in a Corvette. Nobody apart from NPCs goes to combat in an Asp Explorer. But the Mandalay, well, yeah, I'd had a few beers. But the
Scout in an Asp Explorer.
I did, yeah. Well, you know, my Asp Explorer was just an Explorer, and I think I've found myself with shard cannons, because I was just trying to move them around. It's like, well, okay, yeah, I'll have a go. But the thing with the Mandalay is it tempts you into thinking, you know what, you could have a go with this. Like, the Eagle is probably, or something like it, is the canyon racing ship. You can get onto a massive exploration voyage, and if you're willing to take the chance, you can probably have a good go at canyon racing with the Mandalay. I had a lot of fun in the CG recently, because in the Mandalay, because it's not just my exploration ship, but my go long distances for crystal shards, etc. And I had 2 flechette launchers on it, which have you had them? Tried them?
No, I've never used them.
Really interesting.
Like the swarm killer.
Yeah, mechanics are exactly the same,
Yeah.
but they can hit shields. Well, ideally you want to detonate them just as you're at the enemy ship. Detonate them, and the flechettes will pierce the shield, pierce the hull, and start doing module damage directly, which is a lot of fun. They absolutely shred engines. So I was in my Mandalay probably just to get to where the CG was, and just decided to go planet side to where there was a ground conflict zone and some of the dogfighting overhead, and I just thought, well, yeah, you know what, I'll just have a go. All I've got is flechette launchers. There's a Viper here. I'll see what I can do. So completely destroyed its engines, and it was a low G planet, so it was this hilarious like slow fall to the ground, massive bounce, and I was just kind of looking at my watch waiting for him to stop, and then just parked my ship, got out and blew him up with a handgun. Yeah, really good fun.
Nice. Have you flown the Cobra Mark 5?
Only to my routine with a new ship goes buy it, take it off, fly it out, listen to the engine noises, the boost sound, and then go and land it again. I got a bit further with the Cobra and did some Odyssey material helper engineering planning. I think at the time, even though the Thyroid War was basically over, I decided to try and make what I thought was the best AX build. Haven't tried it, but it looks amazing. It's proper stealth bomber aesthetic, isn't it?
Just, I love it in seasons are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the first ship, first small ship I felt able to go up against an Anaconda.
Right.
A lot of engineering, but the manoeuvrability. I'm not an FA off guy.
No, I wish I was. I think if I could, do it over, I might just impose that rule on myself from day one.
I can lean quite a lot on lateral thrust, particularly where the engines are, super buffed.
Yeah.
But I am skewing to the side of but yeah, it's a dream small combat ship, and you think when you think of the thousands of hours that we put into the game, to be able to move back into a small ship and have that much fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We did the Christmas thing a few years ago to get the free vulture.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'd got that, and
so you get that sense of it being a sort of a free hull. So I'll just give it a go anyway. Has it got two large hard points on it, the vulture?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So it packs a real punch as well. I think about the chrome skin for that, because I do get out with that from time to time, just have a bit of a large round with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is it. It's not there's not the big drive towards ranks, towards ship unlocks, module unlocks. I've still not unlocked every last engineer or every last engineer level on any of the accounts. But at this stage now, to be able to get these new ships, to jump in and just have so much fun for such a decent amount of time, for a community goal or something like that, to pitch up in a Cobra Mark 5, cheeky little Cobra Mark 5, really nice.
Yeah.
Really good feeling. So yeah, just very interested to see what Arthur was saying that they've mapped out the next couple of years. Let's see what they bring.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of the speculation that there'll be atmospheric planet landing, and there's talk about if they just exploited some of their IP, so that we get stuff planet side, be it living or buildings or whatever. maybe that's what we've got in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Certainly it's like you asked and we listened with the Panther Clipper. So maybe if they want to carry on engendering that.
Yeah. What are your bets on the next ship after the Panther?
Yeah, I mean it's almost like the Panther should have been the last one, right?
We've still got some more to. Well, I think we're into the large ship category now, aren't we? Of whatever the next collection is to buy.
I enjoyed the Corsair. It's not, I do enjoy fighting in that as well. But in fact, that's where I got the kill stealing accusation, and I was having a happy time until then. But I don't know. It doesn't have to be one of the ships from the previous games, does it? Because the Corsair wasn't. They can run amok with their imaginations. So.
You might remember this, but wasn't the Boa either a slightly more or slightly less good sibling of the Anaconda? I mean, they both look like cones, didn't they, in the original games? I just remember one of them was a bit stubbier than the other.
I have it in mind the Boa might have been stubbier.
Right. Because they've still got a lot of the snake-named, well, maybe not that many of the snake-named old ships to roll out.
Yeah, we've got a lot of those.
If the pumpy piston one makes a comeback, I think my arcs are going to stay in my pocket.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be lifting too much from first encounters. Yeah, I mean, just go for it. I mean, they've obviously sort of tested the water in terms of the ships they released last year. And if that gave rise to the radical design decisions that they did with the Corsair, fine, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, bring it. Have they said that it's going to be large ships?
No, I'm just assuming that's what it'll be. We got our 4 mediums now, haven't we? It wasn't quite as neat and tidy as the first 4 ships of medium because the Cobra came within that, but I don't know. I feel like, because let's speak plainly, they want a revenue stream from these new ships, so obviously they're not just going to say, oh, we've got the Federal Dropship Mark II, put any design resource into that, knowing that no one's going to touch it because it's not pretty and probably isn't going to perform much better. That similarly, I think maybe there's a tendency for people to start the game in cheap, small ships and then graduate to medium and then maybe treat large as their endgame ships until they realise that they can have more fun in a medium. But I think unless you're a very, very good combat player or you want to do exploration purely, there isn't much in the way of a calling for small ships, I don't think, for the people who care enough about the game to be spending their arcs on it.
Yeah, I would agree. What have we got?
Well, we've got a slight problem. We're at the destination now, 9.27 kilometres.
That's Seven Sisters?
Yeah.
We've made it.
Well, we made it.
7.62. 9.62 kilometres.
9.27 so far. Yeah, that's what I make it, but I don't know if this is just my. This doesn't have its own GPS. It's through the apps of the phone.
Carry on.
Okay. There is a pub down there.
Have they got a long bar to walk around?
Have they? Yeah.
And you probably need to check to make sure that the audio recording is carried on.
Yeah. I'll have a look.
Yeah, we're at 1 hour 54.
Brilliant. That's a good time then, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty good time. How are you doing?
I'm doing alright, yeah.
What ship would you like to see next in the game?
One that doesn't require my interest.
Okay. One that occupies him and gets him off your case?
Yes.
Yeah, alright.
Right, so let's go and do a photo then, shall we?
Yeah.
So we've made it.
This is Seven Sisters. Obviously, what we couldn't do is do all of the jogs across the fields and stiles and stuff, so we're a little bit short in terms of the distance. But that is is that the total, or is that including the 2,000 metres up to Jodrell as well?
The thing is, I hadn't actually intended to do GPS monitoring. I just realised that my Fitbit had started recording it as a walk. Now, my normal experience is you've got to be walking for a good long while before it kicks in and says, oh, you're doing a walk. Usually when you don't want it to and you want to tell the time and all you get is your pace and your kilometres and so on, you have to back out of the walk monitoring. But yeah.
Shuffle this way a bit, Joe. Can you get in?
So it's done.
It is done in terms of Jodrell Bank to Seven Sisters. It's not done in terms of 10k. So we're going to finish that. We're going to walk off a little bit.
Okay.
So we're going to have 10k.
Let me just see what the Fitbit app is telling me I've done. So this is what leads me to think it's absolute nonsense, because this is in flight mode, not I am tracking your every move, and it shouldn't be relaying any information onto here.
That's got GPS in it, has it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Some of them do.
Right. I don't know. I mean, would you be happy to carry on? We're at Seven Sisters. Do you want to just head down this road? It's about as friendly as the rest of it's been. I reckon, not saying that we need to stop here, but if we get to the pub and then come back, we're probably going to get you've seen the Dunk, the Dunk Cow where it is.
We've never been there.
Really? Not even to go to Knutsford?
No, don't go to Knutsford that way.
Okay.
Been to Melton, so we've always turn right here.
Right. Okay, well, we'll have a look.
Yeah. Are we safe to cross?
We can carry on this side for a bit, yeah. I'll turn off airplane mode because I thought we might need the battery in an emergency, but really what I've just done is prevented my wife from getting in touch with me in the event of an emergency, and used about 2% of my battery on that walk. So, right, let's carry on.
Let's assume that you would from the.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My leg really hurt.
Did it?
Yeah.
We just got to keep walking forever.
That's the answer.
I do feel like I've got another few hours of elite talk in me, but I don't know if I want to.
Do you want us to carry on talking about elite?
It's just
he's just despondent now.
If it's over.
Yeah.
Is there anything that would get you back into the game? Do you like Odyssey? I mean, we've been having a blast on the surface missions, surface combat. Do you enjoy that first-person shooter kind of aspect of the game, Joe?
What games do you like, Joe?
Well, pretty much the same.
Right.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good.
Right, okay. So, would you try Odyssey? I'm not paying for it.
No, I already have paid for it.
I bought it for you, didn't I? That Baldur's Gate
I play it in spirit. I don't actually, but
Which
I
one?
tend to.
3. What, Elite?
Yes.
Well, I'm really hard to do.
Well, the thing is, you know, since I'm in my summer break, it's been at least 1 hour dedicated to my ears bleeding from listening.
Oh, it's been more than an hour.
I'm just trying to help you out here. Of you talking on and on about Elite. And, you know, I understand you're passionate about it, and I respect that, but I'm not.
And that's fine. You tried it.
I did.
It didn't take. And I get it. It's a bit kind of deferred, isn't it, in terms of your gratification? Would you agree?
Oh, it sure is.
I would-
yeah.
I would call the way I played it severely delayed gratification.
Yeah.
If you call late gratification.
There's a saying, which I might just have made up. Opinions are like onions. They're spelt similarly, and everyone's got one. Now this smells amazing.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, you've really never been past this before.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think this was. I think this was a historic stop for people to have their last meal before they went to the gallows.
Oh.
So.
Do you hear that?
No.
This place was a last stop for your last meal before you went to the gallows.
Oh wow.
Well and truly done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'm confident that
If we now head back, particularly by the time we get to the car.
yeah, I was thinking about stopping in for a pint or a Coke or something, but I don't know. They're fine in here, but it's
Yeah. No, we'll be normal, shall we?
yeah.
Right. Let's do that then. Well, thank you for putting up with that today, Joe. That was very big of you. Appreciate that.
Honestly, I didn't hear half of it, but thank you.
Okay. Well, fortunately, Si's recorded it, so
I think
we think so we can play it back. You know, because we talked about the quiz at the end.
I think he's maybe done enough tests recently.
Yeah, I've done 25 in 2 months.
Okay, so you pleading GCSEs.
But you know what's 26?
Yeah.
More pain and torture.
Yeah. I don't think we'd be
Do I get like? Does it help me with college or anything?
Do you think there could be a GCSE in?
I'll take that as
Elite
a
Dangerous?
Sorry.
Do you think there could be a GCSE in Elite Dangerous?
Well, yeah, elements
There's enough
of
content,
it.
isn't there?
Yeah. You know everything about Elite. You know what? That's astronomy. Somewhat questionable physics.
economics, politics, lasers. What's your favourite weapon?
The AK-47.
Right. It was more to Ned McCready, but thanks.
Favourite weapon? You know what? I do like me a thermal vent laser
Yeah.
for what that can do for you. I will always remember the Guardian shards for the insta-kibbling of Cyclops. That was pretty lovely. I do like the sketchier time delayed railguns and that kind of thing, particularly with the module penetration, super penetrator thing on there, because you just feel encouraged to keep hammering at all sorts of different angles and just see what breaks on the target ship first. So that's actually quite a lot of fun. How about you?
Yeah, beam lasers, but I just because of the convenience and the hold the trigger down and watch them die kind of thing. Plasma accelerators, really enjoy those. No sort of fancy power play modules. I only got the basic model and engineered it, but I just love landing hits with plasma accelerators. That little sort of chirp noise that you get as
You know, I don't think I've used them for any memorable period of time.
yeah.
I should. Is that your recommendation?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm no numbers guru, and I'm not going to tell you DPSs and what gets around resistances and so on, but
You're more Adaptius than Trax.
yeah. So something. At least a high proportion of plasma accelerated damage is absolute, so that ignores resistances and will just do them without you having to worry about like angled reflective plating and so on. In the same vein, I owe. So I've got about 18.8 billion in the game at the moment, and maybe half of that I think I owe to the Guardian, the Salvation engineered plasma chargers, which I've done the vast majority of my AX with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the Guardian plasma charger, is it, that you're talking about, rather than plasma accelerator?
Plasma accelerator are a sort of terrestrial human-built module. Fires out a pinky purple glowing ball. The plasma chargers were an original one of the three weapon types that Salvation, not Salvation, the Ramtar unlockables. They functioned quite a lot like plasma accelerators, except it was a hold the trigger, and when you release, that's when it fires.
Yeah.
Salvation ones, something like higher heat. Can't remember if that's right. You can sure as hell overheat yourself with them, but much faster shot speed. So it's getting more towards hit scan, or target reticule is a lot closer to the thing you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're brilliant, and I think they're unlockable still. But what are you going to do with them now? I guess it's the thing.
What are you going to do next in the game?
Oh, good question. Probably what I've been doing. I'm after so I've just unlocked shot cannons, human tech, and that was on Jay and Trax's recommendation.
Yeah, it's on the screws, wasn't it? Recently?
I can understand why he said it would be lovely if there was an engineered version of those that had higher capacity, because they're so much fun to use on the first ASP scout that you fight in a conflict zone, and then you are down to whatever other weapons you brought along. But yeah, that's a bit more spam the trigger when they're close, and you will do a lot more damage than normal multi-cannons or cannons will. It's somewhere in between the two.
Right, okay. Close range?
No, they don't have to be. Well, I don't know what the fall-off's like, but the problem with them is that the more you spam the trigger, the more jittery they get. So if you're up close,
yeah,
you know when
I
you
heard
know
talking about this, yeah.
you get like an anaconda passing you by, and basically you can fire in any direction. You're going to hit it. That's perfect for
Right, okay.
spammy
You
shot
pick on
cannon
big game.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know everyone's just sort of written them off completely, but metal alloy hull reinforcements. So I'll be interested to see what they're like, because I believe it gives you very, very, very slow hull regeneration. And I wondered, depending on what size you can get, if it's worth packing one of those for exploration.
I did not know that. Right.
I believe so. Worth checking.
Hull
but
reinforcements.
Metal alloy hull reinforcements.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you are out in the black in a Mandalay and you had one of those small, you could park up on the planet.
Yeah, park up, and I mean, it's not going to help your modules, but that's not the thing that gets the worst of it when you bash against a rock or something.
So an AFMU and a hull reinforcement module and you're off.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Your Wolverine.
Yeah. Cool. Should we
Yeah.
walk on? For science.
For science, yeah.
Have you got the urge to go exploring again yet?
No, because I think when I got the Mandalay, I got the urge then. And
yeah, you went up, didn't you?
The thing is, exploration as I used to know it, I'm not going to say it was so much better, but the thing is I understood the game. I understood what worlds gave you the highest payout. I'd got quite efficient at the go and surface scan them, where you position the probe, so you always get your efficiency bonus and so on. That is still there, but now I feel the obligation to scan for biologicals, land on the planet, spend half an hour trying to find patches of bacteria and so on, and there are a lot of rules governing what exobio you get where, but I cannot map that. Oh look, I found a sulfur dioxide atmosphered, less than such a gravity, so far away from the sun thing. Yeah. There's a 30% chance I'll find this thing that will pay out 10 million more.
For you.
Yeah, a little bit. I did that as part of the latest trip that I did. So I went through the California Nebula, which sounds amazing, but you jump to one star, it's massive in front of you. You jump to the next star, it's behind you, because such was the.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to live in the nebula.
No.
You want to live adjacent to the nebula.
Yeah. Have you had any hilarious glitches in the game?
Hilarious glitches. Well, I mean, one that we've seen most recently was when we were at Lake Station on a Tuesday. Do you remember the
Yeah, the guy just running through like some Lovecraftian entity that didn't really exist in our dimension, kind of running diagonally across the sky, from the floor to the sky. Mine, I think, I'm not going to say it's a bug-free game, but you generally don't see much in the way of, oh, you're still playing the game, but this thing is all wibbly-wobbly and isn't that funny to point at and laugh at. It's either Torpe, Cobra, Mauve Adder, you are not playing this game anymore, or it generally holds up pretty well.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
But I did have one during one of the AX surface zones, where I took off in my Corvette. I was flying up towards the Hydra that was, I can't remember how many single digits of kilometres right above the base, and my ship just docked immediately on nothing, engines powered down. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't try.
Traxler, mate.
Yeah, maybe. But I foolishly thought, well, if I'm docked and the option to disembark is there, I'll just do that. And then I found myself on the nose of my ship that was still docked, let's call it 8 kilometres above.
Oh, I bet you wish you'd recorded this.
I wish I'd recorded it. I did take a screenshot.
I remember the screenshot. I couldn't work
yeah.
out what was going on, but for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to get out my Karma, pee, whatever, and have a few pops at the Hydra, which, as you might expect, did nothing. And then tried to dismiss my ship, and it immediately exited the area, leaving me to fall.
Did it set off upwards or what?
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much on the trajectory that it was on. We're at 10.12 kilometres, by the way.
Yes.
We did it.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I got a notification that my ship was under attack, and it had docked down on the floor again, and the Hydra was attacking it. So I dismissed it again. It flew past me as I was still falling, and then I just hit the ground and kibbled, and that was it. Woke up in orbit.
I've not had anything that spectacular.
Yeah.
I had one in Cyberpunk, which is obviously a lot more stable now, but it was quite a nice effect. Again, I wish I'd recorded it. Shot a guy, he collapsed on one of your loot chests with the back of his neck, the back of his head on the loot chest, and then I went and opened the loot chest, and his neck stretched out with so the mechanics were still in place, stretched out, and then he kind of spaghettified and just twisted and started writhing on the floor, which is quite nice. But no, it does. The coloured ships, bombs. Obviously, we get that quite a lot, but nothing that you can point to as something that runs on and allows for either exploit or damage to where you're up to. So I suppose you could say that that's actually probably a good thing, that at least it catches the error quite quickly.
No one's become a trillionaire as a result of any of those glitches that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Right, should we sign off?
Shall we sign off?
Yes. Let's do it.
Well done. Thanks for your
Silence.
patience.
Your patience. It's all for a good cause, and it was it certainly felt like a significant walk for me, and I know it's my knees and your ears, and your knees.
Everything. Back
Just
will
everything,
probably,
everything,
ankles.
And we'll see what tomorrow holds in terms of aches and pains.
Oh, I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. That's good. That's the main
My
thing.
ears, though.
That's the main thing. So we've done pretty well in terms of our lovely sponsors.
Yes, and thank you to all of them.
Thank you very, very much. We felt moved to include a second phase to this, and obviously not everybody could be here today, nor would I have wanted them to, because it was a bit sketchy at times in terms of traffic and what have you. So I'm glad really it was limited to just us three, and we didn't have to sign any papers and insurances and all of that kind of thing. But I thought it might be quite fun to actually retrace the route that we took, or were supposed to take, from Earth to Maya, which has a few joggles in it, actually in game. So according to ED Discovery, I think that's about 3.5 thousand light years to get there from Sol to Maya following that route.
Okay.
So if we were to go there and back and there, that would be our 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to join us, Joe, Commander Red Dot. Okay. So have a think about it.
No.
Not even as crew member. Multi-crew.
Yeah. Just tell me how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. He hasn't been substituted with an imposter. That's definitely him. It's got the hole mark there. Okay. Well, let's do that. we can invite other people, or we can do another video with the waypoints along the way, so that if anyone is minded to join us, they can do, and if they want to let us know what they find along the way, then they can do.
Yeah.
Different jump range brings different experience, so let's call that phase 2.
Yeah. Okay.
We can do that this month, and we can do it for, obviously there's holidays and that kind of thing, so that's going to drag people away, so let's not make that too aggressive in terms of time scale. And then maybe as a phase 3 we can affront other people's ears with a space shanty.
Yeah. Where would you get one of those?
I don't know, just pluck something out of the air.
Okay. Right, I'll leave that to you. Much as I did the route planning for today and
Well, that worked really well, didn't
yeah.
it? Yeah. So yeah, I'll reconcile how badly our course went as well, if I possibly can. But yeah, so phase 1 is complete. Thank you very much to the sponsors. Phase 2 is to come, and probably phase 3. And we'll pack the July out and squeeze every last bit of juice out of 10k your way for special effect.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.